She was against body cameras on cops. She refused to prosecute Steve Mnuchin, the Goldman Sachs guy who's now the Treasury Secretary, when Steve Mnuchin was the head of One West Bank in California, and he was illegally and early foreclosing on like senior citizens and kicking them out of their houses during the Great Recession. Her own office said you should prosecute him, and she didn't. And come to find out that they may have had a situation where they were like donating to her campaign.
Really?
Yes. And then you have the one that to me is like the worst is that she was on camera. It was either 2012 or 2014. She was running for re-election or election then, I'm not sure. But her Republican opponent came out in favor of legalizing marijuana.
Yeah,
and she laughed. When she was asked about if she would support legalizing marijuana, she laughed. She laughed and was basically like, of course not. It was like an of course not moment. And then just to go through the other things real quick, she defended California's 3 strikes laws, which puts people in prison for life for crimes where they probably shouldn't be in there. She criminalized truancy. Truancy is, like if the kid's missing class, she wanted to criminally punish the parents to like force the kids to go to class.
Jesus.
She fought to keep sex work illegal. There were some sex workers who were, trying to get her to legalize it or at least like take a hands-off approach. And she was in favor of keeping it illegal. She supports civil asset forfeiture, which is basically when the cops can legally rob you. And then another one of the worst is that she actually fought to keep an innocent person locked up on a technicality. Like there was evidence that was brought to her of like, this guy is actually innocent and like his thing should be overturned. And she tried to force him to stay locked up. And her argument was like, oh, he didn't fill out like the proper paperwork or whatever. So like keep this innocent guy behind bars. So yeah, she's just, listen, plain and simple. She's a corporate Democrat and she's not on the left and she's unfortunately a continuation of the status quo, but now they have the ability to call all of the critiques of her from people like me sexist and racist. So, I'm sexist and racist for substantively disagreeing with Kamala Harris and saying that this is a terrible pick, Her record is terrible and she's not going to change anything. And like, that's all we need at a time like right now. Look at what's going on in this country, man, between the pandemic and the 20% real unemployment rate and everything's like falling apart. And she's not somebody who's really going to meet the moment in the sense that she would ever like, if she becomes president, is she going to like go full FDR? No, she's going to be like a status quo defender. And it's going to be tweaks around the edges. And then also, she's only going to try to go for half measures. And then the Republicans are going to obstruct her completely. So even the half measure will be watered down. And this is basically like guaranteeing, 4 to 8 more years of Obama-esque rule. Like that's what this is. This is the Democratic Party doubling down and tripling down on the Bill Clinton school of thought, which then became the Hillary Clinton one and was Obama's. And now it's going to be Biden and Harris. And it's basically nothing but a giant middle finger to the left because it's like we're embracing neoliberal corporatism. We're going to, basically keep the system functioning as is. And hey, at least we're not Trump. Like that's their whole thing is like, at least we're not Trump. And it's like, ugh, at this late date, that's what we're going with.
And that's what frustrates me the most because it's just like if you turn a blind eye to like all the shit that's wrong with her, like we'll never have any change, and it's
that's
like,
right. Mm-hmm.
I want to get behind the ticket, but it's not encouraging. It's question you is like, does it even matter that he picked her? Because like,
I think it does actually. I think in most instances it wouldn't matter who he picks because I'm expecting a bad pick, and it's like just give me regular bad. Yeah. But I think he actually picked like the worst possible pick in that not only does she add nothing substantively on policy, but even politically, it's going to play out bad in the sense that she's an easy target and the right is going to have a field day and they're really going to rally around. Like the right has honestly had trouble going after Biden in the same kind of way they went after Hillary because Biden is just not as people don't have that visceral hatred of Biden like they did of Hillary.
Yeah.
But people do have that visceral hatred of Kamala. Like they do. So now you just managed to pick somebody who actually puts back up in the air a lot of states that were kind of locked up, I think. So the thing that I'm just so sick of is I'm sick of people lying to me about it. Like, don't say if you try to make an affirmative case, shut up. I hate you. If you just try to hit me with like a here's why we have to, then okay, I could listen. You know what I mean? But like people are just lying across the board trying to get people to fall in line. And this is one of those picks where it's like it's going to have the opposite effect. I know so many people who had like wavered and like they were like, no, I'm never voting for Joe. And then I saw recently within the past like month or two, you saw people slowly come around and they were like, all right, look, if I got to do it, I got to do it. But all those people now, a lot of them, Joe just lost them because he did like the single worst pick where we know so much about her terrible record that a lot of those people are going to say, hell no, I'm not going to do it now. Now I'll stay home.
Yeah.